It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Greetings and salutations on this Good Friday. It is to get you to the holiday weekend edition of the Patrick Johnson Show. If you're a working stiff like the rest of us, hope it's been a good one for you. We are up and running on 94.3 The Game, 94.3thegame.com online, and on the IBX Media app. Big show today before we get going. Of course, Pirate Baseball coming up at the top of the hour. We'll send you out to Birmingham, Alabama at 5:45, and it will be Dylan Johnson getting you ready for ECU and UAB Game 2. Pirates with some late inning extension work, adding some runs, and they get the win 12-7 yesterday in Birmingham. Wanted to give another shout, too. A couple things as it's related to hoops. Heard a lot of good feedback from our Kim McNeil interview yesterday from the radio side, so I appreciate that very much. I thought Kim was candid and had a lot of insightful things to say about the state of women's college basketball, college athletics, and her program. So if you missed that, go back and check it out. It is on the IBX Media app. You can watch it, or you can go back and listen to it as well. Another thing, Pilk, I don't know if you mentioned this yesterday in your update. I was remiss in mentioning it yesterday when we get these truncated shows sometimes with the schedule and everything. Unfortunately, things are left on the cutting room floor, but I had it in my notes yesterday to mention R.J. Felton at the Portsmouth Invitational. Big game for him on Wednesday night. He had 22 points, shot the ball well. He was a late addition to this event, and so this event has historically, in the old days, led to guys getting drafted who are seniors into the NBA. There's still a chance of that, still a chance you can pick up a G League deal or a two-way deal out of the Portsmouth Invitational, but it also has become a big place for international scouts. So shout out to RJ with his 22-point performance, and that event rolls on. All right. Demetri Ravanos coming up. We'll talk some college football news with him, including Lee Corso's final show for College Game Day, and we'll talk with him later on in the hour. Right now, though, an interview we did earlier today with ECU softball alum and ESPN Plus softball analyst Courtney Layton, as the Pirates are starting right now the second game of their series over on ESPN Plus as they take on first place Florida Atlantic. So we'll talk about the Pirates softball program and more. Earlier we did with Courtney Layton. All right, Courtney, thanks for being with us here. And when we look at the game one of the series, Pirates jumped out using small ball. And it was oddly enough Florida Atlantic, who's the first place team in the American, who is a team that is predicated on gap-to-gap power and, running the bases, execution. They actually hit 3 home runs in the game yesterday. So it's almost like it was a Freaky Friday. They kind of jumped at each other's lineup for a little bit there. But, it was an impressive win for FAU. Autumn Courtney was good enough. I don't think she was dominant, but she was certainly good enough. And, when you look at this Pirate team, I don't want to say the season's been disappointing, but, I think they were hoping for a better mark than, at this point, a game over 500 in the conference and 5 games over overall.
Yeah, and it's like you said, I think yesterday's game, honestly, was flipped. It was weird to see ECU use the small ball so much. I was kind of surprised by that because I thought coming into the weekend, FAU using that so often, especially with their slappers. They have a really lefty-dominant lineup. ECU been pretty consistent with home runs. We've seen 2, 3 out of Gabby Fowler, multiple out of Emma Jackson, Annie K. Dalton. So was really weird, but it worked to see them use the small ball. FAU, I think, timed up Kendall Frost really well, was able to get a hold of her as a freshman. That is kind of easy to fall into a pattern. So FAU able to come through with the home runs, and then Jordan Hatch coming in as a senior. They've already faced Jordan Hatch before. They're familiar with her off speed. So I think that was part of the problem in Friday night's game. I think in terms of where they are in the season, compared to last year. They definitely expected to be in a better spot this year at this time of the year, right before conference tournament. So I do think they could be a little bit disappointed and feel maybe that they're better than their record. And I think we've heard Coach Winkler say that multiple times, that even in a game, we were better than the score showed, or we're better than our record. And I think that that's been the big thing this season.
Emma Jackson is currently, and she has one more year of eligibility, possibly two. It was interesting. I talked to her dad after the game last night, and big fan of Courtney Layton he is, by the way, and the fact that we were talking about, Emma's career briefly, and she could have 2 more years. She's got 15 home runs this year. The mark is 18. Now, Jackson had a really tough day yesterday, 0 for 3, struck out a couple of times looking. And I thought you said something really great on the telecast last night, and that was when Jackson struck out in the second inning, the Pirates had already pushed across a run. They had gotten through small ball, the bases loaded, and they had Jackson up with 2 outs, bases juiced, and she takes strike 3. That seemed in your mind to kind of flip the momentum of Thursday night's game.
Yeah, and it's almost, ECU used the small ball so hard, and it was so effective, and it worked so well. And I think part of the reason they used it to push across runs, move runners, get the bases loaded, was because they knew where they were in the lineup. They knew they were going to bring up Emma Jackson, so they wanted to do everything they can to bring her up with bases loaded. Then you're able to do that, turn the lineup over, you get Kenesha Anderson on base, get it to Emma Jackson, and unfortunately she strikes out looking, which is not normal for her, really. She swung the bat really well, saw some pitches, was selective, but then on the last one, I think she was a little bit too in her head, because, it honestly was right down the middle. I think that was a momentum shift. Then she struck out looking again in the same game. So I think it kind of messed with her a little bit. Still played well in the field. ECU still played well defensively despite the offensive struggles they had. But I do really think that's where things changed. For FAU, they said, we got out of a jam. I think Autumn Courtney threw much better after that inning. We saw her pitch count in each inning go down after that one. So I do really feel like that was the switch in that game.
We're talking to Courtney Layton, ECU softball, playing right now against Florida Atlantic out at the Max Joyner Family Stadium. And they will also be there at noon tomorrow, so you can check out the game tonight or tomorrow. Admission free to the softball games at the Max all season long. Really good game last night, and a really interesting game with Florida Atlantic, the first place team in the American, blowing it open after the Pirates took a lead. They got a big 4 spot in the fourth, and a couple of weird plays in that fourth inning. We mentioned the home runs. There was a 3-run homer from Chloe Yates, and Kenesha Anderson, the outstanding speedy center fielder for the Pirates, actually had the ball kind of scoop out of her glove, or actually had it, and I think hit the wall, and the ball went out that way. So she could have robbed the home run. Okay, that one, that's a tough catch. Now, a couple batters later, Yanni Guzman for Florida Atlantic, who's not hit a home run all year. This one actually glanced off the glove and went over. It was reminiscent of the play in the ECU baseball game a couple of weeks ago. So, it's just kind of 2 tough breaks, but when you're a team that's as good as FAU, you take advantage of those breaks.
Yeah, and as a former outfielder, I know that that's tough, getting a ball off the glove, or saying I could have made this phenomenal play and I didn't, or sending a ball over the fence that might have not been going over if it weren't for that. Then your team is down 3 runs more than they were beforehand. Again, like you said, the first home run, she could have caught it, but okay, it really was carrying out of the park. The second one by Guzman, her first home run of the year, I feel had a better chance of being caught. And it's really rare that you have 2 chances at robbing a home run in the same inning. And Kenesha Anderson had both of those opportunities. I think with her level of skill in the outfield, the second one she probably should have caught. It would have been a great catch, but do think it could have been caught for a big out. Then that might have been ECU's momentum shift. So I do think that was part of it. It is tough. It's a tough break for ECU. They had a few of those yesterday with some missed calls in the box as well. So definitely a tough break for them. I think the outfield can learn from that, adjust to that, and get ready for the rest of the series.
Did you ever rob a home run at any point in your career, not only your ECU career, but just any point playing softball? You had
I did.
All right, who did you rob? Where did it happen? I know you remember.
I did a few in conference. I did one at Houston. When I was playing travel ball, they had those breakaway fences, those white ones where you run into them, or the green ones that give. So when you run into them, they just kind of break, or you flip over it or whatever. So one time I was playing in California, and there was a green kind of net fence, and I fell over it and flipped over it, but I held onto the ball and I caught it, and it was at a big tournament. So it worked out. But I had a few with the breakaway fences when I was playing travel ball. Then I had a few in college.
Should the breakaway fence count? I mean, come on.
Yes,
I guess
it counts.
It's coming from somebody who never robbed a home run. Patrick's hating.
No.
I know.
Well, I mean,
Patrick's
I
a
am
hater.
hating a little bit. How do you know my home runs weren't robbed, Pilk? How did you know I just had warning track? How would you know that? I just had warning
No, I just said
track
someone who never robbed a home run. I didn't say
no.
any of yours were robbed.
I'm going to play DH or they stuck me out in left field. All right. We're talking to Courtney Layton. I want to go back to one more thing here. Kendall Frost is a freshman. I don't think there's any denying her talent. Taylor Apple is a sophomore. To me, and I'm a big Shane Winkler fan, as are you. I really like this team. They've got a lot of great players. I do think it is a little tough when you look at other teams that are of the caliber of, NCAA regional caliber teams. And I'm not just talking in the American, although this is an applicable example there. But, I've seen it in some of the other games I've done over the last couple of years. It seems like in order to be really good and competitive, you've got to have an effective, maybe not even a lights out, but just an effective veteran pitcher that you can go to, somebody with a little experience. I know in this microwave society, it's kind of hurry up and wait. But, the good thing about Frost is she'll be a sophomore. The good thing about Apple, she'll be a junior. That's next year, though. And so, to me, I know we love the home runs. We love the offense. And Shane Winkler does, too. I think ECU's got to try to find a way in the portal to address pitching going into next year, as far as maybe somebody who could kind of be the one that, I won't say leads the staff, but is the one that maybe kind of shows the way to the younger pitchers.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Hatch is your senior, and she's, going through an injury right now, so you can't rely on her as much as you'd want to. So when you're heavily relying on two underclassmen, one is a freshman and had really high expectations going into this year. She has exceeded a lot of those, but as a freshman, it's easy to get exhaustion later in the year. I think that's what's happening because in the beginning, when she was playing at, Virginia and South Carolina, playing really well, held, I believe it was South Carolina to one run up until the sixth inning. So I think she's caught a tough break throughout the year. You just get worn down. Your pitches aren't as effective. I think they're going to need to find a leader, someone who's an upperclassman. I know Taylor Apple will technically be an upperclassman at that point, but somebody who's been in that spot already, somebody who is a little bit further along in their college career. So I think that's going to be ECU's biggest thing. They do need somebody who is a little bit more experienced vocally on the field as well. Like I said, I think Kendall Frost and Taylor Apple are phenomenal, but it can't be our offense pushes across one run. We need to push across more than one, and they can't push across 9 every game. You're going to have to get to a point where a pitcher can hold the offense to one run and you can win a 1-0 ball game. ECU's not doing that right now, and we saw that yesterday. That's going to be the biggest thing.
All right, how many teams does the American get in to the postseason, in your opinion?
It's a big conference. I think 3 or 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
I think.
She's on the record. Courtney's on the record. All right. Courtney Layton, check her out right now, right this very second on ESPN Plus, calling ECU and FAU with the plucky upstart named Patrick Johnson. And that same dynamic duo will be available tomorrow on ESPN Plus at noon Eastern, for the third game of the series. Courtney, thanks for the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Courtney Layton with us. Stay tuned. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. And when we come back, Demetri Ravanos, our old friend, will join us.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. You get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
All right, welcome back to the program. Pirate Baseball coming up top of the hour and a shortened edition of the show today. It is nice to have you along. Demetri Ravanos, our old friend, joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Demetri, how are you?
I'm good, PJ. How are you, buddy?
Doing well. Is it Greek Easter yet?
Yes, we align this year. We are letting the whites have our Easter.
Oh my gosh, Demetri Ravanos with this here. You're a hoot and or a holler is Demetri.
Oh,
all right. Anytime we get a chance to talk with you about media. By the way, Demetri, where can we tell people to check you out? What's the best place for all things Demetri Ravanos right now?
Oh gosh, if you are looking for what I write about the sports media, stillbarrettmedia.com. If you are looking for just my general silliness, I would say my Instagram is at @dravanos. I do so much video now that is just where I send people.
Okay, there you go. D. Ravanos, Ravanos, the great Demetri Ravanos. All right, Lee Corso. Final episode for Lee Corso of College Game Day will be the season premiere of the show. He's going to be 90 by then. Gosh, I hope he makes it. But, I certainly think it's time. But when you look back at his contribution to that show, I think he is the thing that has made it more than anything what it is today.
Agreed. I think that this is going to be a significant moment, not just for College Game Day. This is going to be a significant moment in ESPN history when Lee Corso says goodbye, because if you think about the evolution of the network, College Game Day is the only thing that is still the big deal that it was 30 years ago, right? SportsCenter and Baseball Tonight are both shells of what they used to be. NFL primetime and Outside the Lines don't exist anymore. It is literally College Game Day all alone at the top of ESPN's pecking order for that length of time. And you're dead on, Patrick. I think for guys like us in our 40s, he's the first dude we saw that took the attitude that this is sports. It should be fun, right? Like the guys on the field, the coaches, the players, they are taking it seriously. For the rest of us, college football is entertainment. So with that being said, I'm going to put on this duck head at the end of the show.
I guess the big controversy is how will that tradition carry on? I would think if Corso blesses it, it would. I don't know if Saban's the candidate to do that. And I think the franchise is going to be fine, Demetri, because, McAfee and your mileage may vary. Mine does on him. Certainly Saban. I think that's a great duo. I think they play off of each other very well. Herb Street obviously adds cred. I think Reese Davis does a really nice job of in sort of an Ernie Johnson-esque role in a lot of ways, and he knows the product. I mean, Desmond, bless Desmond's heart, he gives it some credibility too, but I mean, he's kind of innocuous. So I think the franchise itself is going to be perfectly fine as long as Saban is still motivated and they can keep McAfee paid and engaged.
Yes, I agree. Now, the one thing I will disagree with you on is I think that no matter what it is Lee Corso says, for the good of the show, once Corso is gone, the headgear picks have to go to the great sports media content folder in the sky. Like, that has to retire with him. It is it is so tied to him. That being said, I do think there is a reason, even though McAfee is more of an improviser than a guy that is ever going to work off a script, I do think there's a reason they've been working in McAfee leading crowd sing-alongs for the last couple of years. I think that's going to become the big signature at the end. To your point about the show being fine, I was asked yesterday on a radio show down in Birmingham how they replace Lee Corso. And the answer is you don't. The show feels too bloated right now as it is. And what is a better tribute to what Lee Corso meant to sports broadcasting than it took two guys to replace what he brought to the show?
Demetri Ravanos, at @dravanos on Instagram, where you can follow all of his content there. Also, Barrett Media Sports. Pilkington has some Lee Corso trivia for us before I get to some other sports-related topics. So, Pilk, what do you got?
All righty. If Demetri's right and the headgear pick does die, do either one of you guys know which headgear Lee Corso has worn the most on College Game Day?
Yes, it is Ohio State by a mile, right?
It is 45 times he's worn Brutus. There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
Wow. Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Big Al is number 2, but it's like, I want to say for Alabama, it's like 17 behind Ohio State.
Actually, it's just 7. He's done it 38 times to 45,
really? Yeah. All right. Well, I wasn't a math major.
That's why you're in journalism.
Demetri with us here. All right, Demetri, I have a couple other sports, college football and sports media things I want to ask you here, okay?
Patrick Johnson, I'm here for you.
Colorado retiring Shamir Sanders' number, and also retiring the number, or Shadir Sanders. I always call him Shamir. Shadir Sanders, and the number of Travis Hunter. The Hunter thing I can maybe understand a little bit. Shadir Sanders, even though he's the all-time passing leader, I don't know. So, Demetri, and what I love about this is Coach Prime says, well, yes, Shadir wouldn't get his number retired if his last name wasn't Sanders. So, I mean, at least You say what you want about Dion. He's at least honest.
Listen, we're in this new era of athlete / coaching, a sports celebrity, let's say, where they are just out front with it, right? I think it was during the women's national championship game that Caitlin Clark was on with, the Sue Storm, Diana Taurasi, like the secondary broadcast ESPN does.
Yeah.
And they asked her about her summer or her off season since she didn't play in Unrivaled. And her response was, look, it took away from the primary goal, which is ABB, always be branding. So I do think we are in this new era of, if you have the fame, you get as much as you can while you have it.
I guess college football is going to charge a timeout now for a fake injury. Who determines if it's a fake injury?
That's the slippery slope of this, right? Like, I mean, I guess if it is a matter of if you pop right back up, if you're in after X number of plays, I don't know how you judge what a fake injury is. But that being said, like, look, man, as an SEC guy, that stuff became an epidemic this past season. Ole Miss is the poster child for it, but they were not the only ones. And I think it's become so prevalent, Patrick, that it has, like, as human beings, made us worse now, where any time a guy goes down, our instinct is to boo rather than to wonder if he's okay.
This started at the high school level. I'm just saying, high school teams been doing this crap for years. Oh, my goodness, we did it all the time. You got to cramp, fall down. The kid starts, like, yanking at his calf. Oh, yeah, this is...
Yeah, but respectfully, Pilt, those weren't on TV, so
they
who
weren't.
cares?
Oh, exactly. But my point is, it's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
All right, Demetri, we like to stick to sports, but I'm going to wade into the political waters with you here. Stephen A. Smith, Screaming A. Smith.
I'm incredibly familiar with North Carolina. North Carolina.
Says he may run for president. What do you think of that?
I mean, best wishes and Godspeed to whoever has to debate that man on television, because you are going to lose. I mean, look, it's no more absurd than the current situation. That doesn't mean it's good, right?
Well, that was the thing everybody said. Trump's a TV. I can't see Stephen A. Smith walking away from $100 million or whatever the contract is. And
that's the thing, right? Like, I do think there is an element of there's an element of Donald Trump and ego that I think does not exist in the same way as Stephen A. Smith. Don't get me wrong. The dude absolutely has an ego, but his ego is fed by dollar figure, not by power. So I think at the end of the day, he's going to recognize how many of those $20 million paychecks he has to miss in order to not just be president, but even run for president. That's going to nip this thing in the bud.
The other thing about it is this. Right now, his cachet, he could almost get more mileage to influence politics or culture by being a commentator about it and still doing his sports gig.
PJ, do you mind if I drop a little insider knowledge here?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was told, the paycheck he's getting from ESPN with that new deal is $20 million a year, and the network will let him do stuff outside of that contract for anybody he wants, right? That was a compromise, I've been told, from the network preparing for him to ask for 25, and he asked for way more than 25. If Stephen A. Smith was willing to give up that amount of money for the freedom, I think that tells you that he thinks exactly like you do. The amount of influence he can have is worth, $7, $8, $10 million a year. And again, I think there is a different calculus to be done. I mean, not to get, super political on anybody, but there's a different calculus to be done if you are very rich and also not facing jail time if you don't win. Like, why would Stephen A. Smith give this up?
That's what to me, I think it makes no sense to. It just makes no sense to run because, like you say, it's not that he wins the presidency and he has to give that money up.
But then you got to be president. Like that's the part that Donald Trump forgot about.
You got to run for president, which takes 2 years at least.
Yeah,
and I mean that's that's just a ton of money for him to surrender.
Right now, it is he will play it out as long as he can because it gets him, FaceTime with audiences that would not be seeking him out otherwise. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense.
But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but, I think it was Bomani Jones on his podcast that pointed this out. Like the stuff that he talks about with his popularity in these opinion polls being the result of just how lost the Democratic Party is right now. Bomani Jones pointed out, like, he has hit on this thing that is going to keep this going, which is the left, the right, everybody is frustrated with the Democrats right now. So that keeps the celebrity factor of this, the value of this conversation going. So he's got reason to play into it. I don't think he has reason to ultimately pull the trigger, though. Yeah.
All right. One last thing. Have you watched the Celtic City series on Max?
This is so complicated for me, Patrick Johnson, because I love the Boston Celtics. But I really do hate Bill Simmons' Celtics fan fiction, which he has been writing for years. Is it good? And here's the other part, too. You watch stuff about the history of the Boston Celtics. As a white Celtics fan, boy, you don't feel great about that choice.
Well, I'll say this. It covers every aspect of it. I mean, it covers that, and I think covers it really well. I also think it covers the basketball. So there's really something there for everybody.
It's interesting, right? Like you've had so that's the thing. Like, I think I will eventually watch it because you had so many different eras of interesting superstar on that team. Obviously the big one is Larry Bird, but before that you have Bill Russell. I think there is something interesting to be said to that time right after Bird where they think they have the dude in Reggie Lewis and suddenly he drops dead on the basketball court. Like there are very few franchises in American sports with the pantheon of history, or maybe the diversity of history that the Celtics have.
Yeah. Hey, Demetri, good to talk to you. I appreciate it. I love you. And we'll
Patrick
talk
Johnson.
soon.
Listen, I know you're not on the team, but as the broadcaster, give it to those FAULs today.
Dimitri, you went to FIU, right?
That's right. I hate FAU with a passion.
Yes, because you went to FIU. All right. Thank you, Dimitri.
All right, boys. Always a pleasure.
There he goes, Demetri Ravanos. I forgot he went to Florida International. All right, we're going to say goodbye for now. Hope you have a great holiday weekend. Pilk's going to give you an update, then we'll get you out to ECU baseball right after this.